Okay, so we are going to go through the steps of combining our data sets to create our data visualization, our GeoNetwork data visualization. We're going to use SAS Studio and create some flows using SAS Studio. So I've logged into the application, and you can get to SAS Studio by using the hamburger menu in the top left corner and selecting Develop Code and Flows. The welcome screen, you get this getting started area, and you can just click on build a flow, and that opens up the flow canvas. And to kind of orient you to the space, you've got your workspace here in the center, which kind of morphs as you select different options. Here on the left, you've got your libraries. These are all the different areas and folders and places for where you have access to data. For this particular demo, we're going to be working out of the MDE library. And what else is important here is we can look at the steps. So this is the list of all of the steps, and these are just pre-built actions that you can take to transform your data, whether it's importing or exporting data into the environment, or creating tables, filtering rows, merging tables, ranking data, um, creating geocoding data, building visualizations, uh, performing data quality. There's just a lot of stuff that you can do here through drag and drop. Now, there's also an area here where you can click on this drop down to get quick access to the more frequently used options. And so I'm going to start here and pull in my two tables. So I've added two table nodes here. And if I click on the table node, I'm prompted to pick a library and a table. So I'm going to go my MDE library, and I'm going to grab my patients data, and we can take a look at the columns in this data, right? So I've got, patient information, a unique ID, some other demographics, and then a data set label here. And I can actually preview the data here too to get a sense of what's actually loaded. And so I can see that, yep, there's just 6 rows in this data set. Looks like I've got 6 patients with all of the different demographics information. Looks like I've got some latitude and longitude data, which is going to be useful. And then this data set label that's telling me that this is patient data. Now I want to go and add my pharmacy data. So I'll go through the same steps here. And it's in my MDE library. And now I've got my pharmacy data loaded. And we can look at that data as well. We've got a few more columns in here. So we've got the MPI, right? That's the unique identifier for the pharmacy. I got a pharmacy name, some location information, as well as a latitude and longitude, and some other attributes like whether they're open on weekend or if they've got support for languages, and a data set label or identifier telling me this is pharmacy data. And if I scroll down, I can see that there are 24 rows in this set. So now what I want to do is combine these two so that I get one table that contains all possible combinations of a patient and a pharmacy. And I need this for my Geo network visualization. So to do that, I'm going to select the query node. I'm going to put that here. And I'm going to hover over the demo patients node here and just watch the cursor as it changes from an arrow to a hand with a finger. That indicates now I'm ready to actually drag and drop a connective line here. And I'm going to do that for both of them. I'm just going to do this, and you can see a new import port opens up. So now I've got both of these two connected to this query object. And if I look down here in my options, I can see I have access now to the table 1, which is demo patients, and all of the different columns, and table 2, which is my demo pharmacies, and all of the different columns. Now I could start building a query here just by dragging and dropping the individual columns in here to create, a specific type of table, but I actually want all the data. So I'm going to shift click on both these tables and drag them into my workspace here. So that's just going to bring in all of my columns. And now I have the opportunity to rename them if I'd like, or create labels for them, or format the data in a specific way. But I'm going to pass on that. And what I'm going to do here is define the join criteria. So what I'm looking to do is create a Cartesian product here. I want all possible combinations of both data sets. So I'm going to keep this as an inner join, and I'm going to use my data set label field here because I know that all of the rows for the patients is going to have a value of patients, and all of the rows in my pharmacies table is going to have a value of pharmacy. And to get all rows here, I'm going to choose not equal. So now that I've got my query defined, I can simply just run this. I can just run this flow right from here, or I could just run it from here with a right click. I'm going to click run from the top, and this will run everything that's in my flow, and that becomes more important as I build this out and add more components or nodes to this. But for right now, it's pretty straightforward. So I get a message down at the bottom that it's successfully completed. I will come back down to my libraries, and I can see that in my work library, and that is a special library that only I have access to. It's created this temporary file here with this crazy unique name, but that's my data. From here I can just see all the columns. These are all the columns, right? So I've got patient ID all the way down to patient email, and then the MPI and all of the pharmacy data. And I can actually double click in this on this, and SAS Studio provides a really nice query tool, so I can preview the data in the table itself. And so what I'm looking for, I just want to take a quick peek at the patient IDs and the MPIs. So I'm going to do a column selection here, and I will pick, this allows me to just pick the specific columns that I want. So I'm going to choose patient ID, and then I'm just going to quickly search for MPI. I can use this search feature here and click on MPI, and I'll click OK. And this will eliminate all the extra fields I don't really care about at the moment. So I've got my patient ID and my MPI. Why don't I sort this to ascending? And so now I can see that for each patient ID, I've got an MPI. So I can see I've got 24 rows for patient ID 1. That's because I had 24 pharmacies. And I should, if I scroll through this, have 24 rows for each of the patient IDs and MPIs for a total of 144 rows. So it looks like my query worked, and it's what I'm expecting. So I can close this out. The next thing I want to do now that I've got my patient and my pharmacy data combined, that also means that I have my patient latitude and longitude and my pharmacy latitude and longitude all on the same row, so I can actually calculate the distance between a patient and a pharmacy. Now, I'm going to actually use a SAS program to do that. So, if you're a programmer, you can also leverage the power of flows here. So you can see in my drop-down, I've got access to a SAS program. I'm going to drop that here into my workspace, and I'm going to connect it to the output port of my query. So basically, it's going to give my SAS program access to the output of that query, and I've got some code here that I can write into this SAS program. Now I want to make sure that I'm matching up my program with this temporary table. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go, I'm going to use the rename option just so I can quickly copy and paste this temporary name. and I'm then going to paste that into my program. Now, the way this program works is it's going to create a new table called Pats and Farms Temp, and it's going to load it with the data from this temporary table that I just created. And then it's going to add a new field called distance miles, distance underscore miles, and it's using this geodist function. And the geodist function takes in the patient latitude data, the patient longitude data, the pharmacy latitude, and the pharmacy longitude coordinates. And then there's an indicator here, M for miles, and this will generate the distance in miles between those 2 points. So I can run this node here, or I could rerun the whole thing if I want. It doesn't matter, I'll just run this. And now the SAS program is going to execute, and here in a second we should see a new table appear here in my work library called Pats and Farms Temp. And there it is. So if I expand my columns, I've got all the same columns from the previous temp file with the addition of distance miles. And I can open this up and take a quick peek. And at the very far end of this table will be my distance in miles. So this is the beginning part of my flow that I'm going to use to create my data set to drive my geo network visualization. And in the next video, we'll explore the other steps.